Sir, I am particularly grateful to the honorable member for having raised this question, because in the context of the ongoing military action in that part of the world, Russia and Ukraine, several issues are being raised. The first supplementary, sir, that the honorable member has raised relates to the quantum of imports. The second one, I think, relates to the investment. So insofar as the quantum of imports is concerned, this gives me an opportunity to clarify that in the financial years 2018-19, 19-20, 20-21, and the first 9 months of the current financial year, our total imports of crude from Russia have been 0.6%, 1.3%, 0.3% and 0.2%, which means that even the less than 1% figure of imports from Russia will take a long time to fill at the current rate, because we are already 9 months of the financial year are over. Insofar as Indian investments in Russia are concerned, sir, our oil companies have invested from the time, sir, if I recall correctly, of Vajpayee's government, something a total of $16 billion. Some of those investments are very profitable, as I've had the opportunity of informing this House on an earlier occasion. Sakhalin 1, for instance, where OVL has, I think, 20% of the share. Our investment of $337 million has resulted in an overall revenue already of about $3.7 billion of oil of revenue, and we have another 20 years of assets still left there. Sir, the discussion on whether Western oil entities are exiting from some of these facilities, like the honorable member, I have also seen reports in the public domain press. Sir, when we look at some of these, and we are in discussion, we are in fact in discussion with some of these Western oil companies, so the facts on the ground, I think, vary. There is a nuanced approach. Some have indicated an intent to exit. Others have said they will not make fresh investment. But as I said, we are monitoring the situation, and insofar as oil imports are concerned from Russia, contrary to what is being played up in the press, these are minuscule. Even now, the total amount contracted will be less than 3 days supply from India, from Russia to India, and that also spread over the next 3 to 4 months. Through you, I would like to inform the honorable member that the exact words she's quoted, cannot continue. Cannot continue, again, I read as an intent that they would like to bring those arrangements in. But we are in discussion with the highest levels of those companies, and I have no doubt that if those companies were to exit, finally, as some companies are saying, they have no intention to invest further there. But if they are, and if there are economic opportunities that become available, we will certainly look at all those possibilities. Let me mention that the one facility where one of the Western entities is the operator, one of our oil companies has a 20% share. Now, we got worried when we read those reports, because if the operator is exiting, then the facility's production will will be undermined. But we were told no, production facilities will continue. So we will discuss on a case-by-case basis with everyone and our oil companies. Sir, we have typically arrangements which are government to government and company to company. The kind of arrangements that the honorable member is mentioning are company to company. One of them is an Indian public sector entity, and on the other side is the Russian state company which he is mentioning. But insofar as increased oil imports are concerned, I would again like to reiterate, in the first 9 months of the year, we have imported only 0.2% of our requirements. Let me give you the exact figures. We require, Madam Honorable Sir, a total of 5 million barrels per day. That's our consumption. 60% of it comes from the Gulf. We have imported from Russia only 0.419 million metric tons out of a total of 175,000, which is less than, well, much less than 1%, 0.2%. Even if we were to scale these up considerably, it would still be a drop, literally a drop in a larger bucket. Sir, let me start by saying that India and the United States have a robust bilateral energy relationship. And let me also point out to the honorable member through you that in the financial year 2021, we imported 14 million metric tons of crude from the United States, and that this represented 7.3% of our requirements, as against the less than 1% from the Russian Federation. On the current year, based on our imports from the United States, if I look at the projection, these are likely to go up from 14 million metric tons to 16.8 million metric tons, or a value of about $10 billion of imports of crude oil from the US. If I add to that the amount of gas which we are importing and coal, I think the figure comes closer to $13.5 billion of imports from the United States. So it is a robust relationship on the energy front, and I see this continuing for some time. It is the well-stated policy of the government to discourage progressively the use of kerosene. We are trying to encourage state governments which come to us for quotas to try not to encourage kerosene, because we want to take our brothers and sisters, especially our sisters and mothers, onto cleaner fuels. You know how kerosene prices react under particular situations, but I particularly doubt whether the increase in the last 1 week or so has any direct is a direct offshoot of what is happening on the Russia-Ukraine front. It could. I don't have the precise listing. I'd be happy to look into it. Insofar as gas and oil prices are concerned, as I said, even though the international price has shot up from something like $84-85 dollars a barrel, today it was, I think, close to 111. The concerned oil companies have not passed this on to the consumer. When they will, etc., these are decisions which they will have to take.
Thank you.
Sir, I would like to thank the honourable member for this question on strategic petroleum reserves and the Government of India's decision, if I recall correctly, in November of last year, when we had joined the other consuming countries, particularly, if I recall correctly, United States, Japan, Korea, and one or two others, to permit a limited release. And I think we had released about 5 million on that occasion. At that point, the prices were not as volatile, the international market, because that was well before the military action between Russia and Ukraine, which started on 24th February. On that occasion, yes, the release had some sobering impact, but you will agree, sir, and through you I want to inform the honourable member that for countries like India, which have limited strategic reserves, it cannot be a solution, a panacea. So on a second occasion, when the consuming countries through the IEA, that is the International Energy Agency, decided to do another release, I think of a total of 60 million or so. But at that stage, India had signaled an intent and a support, but we have not done the release. So releases from strategic reserves can have a limited impact in given situation. But when the international market is so roiled as it is today, high prices, I think it's not limited.